is Coach Marcus from Pro Fan Talk. On the lunch break, going to get some vittles. Figured I'd record a little bit. We are in draft week, and as expected, people are getting kind of stupid with predictions, and it happens every year because people think people just don't know what to think, and a lot of people are grasping at straws, and a lot of people are watching all of the videos, all of the media heads, and all of that kind of stuff. Everybody and their mama's got a mock draft. And if you basically a lot of the mock drafts are nothing but number generators, random number generators. So I've been using the mock draft. I've been using Pro Football Network, PFF mock draft, ESPN mock draft, all of those websites. I've done all of them. They all end up doing the same thing. And some of the choices is like, well, that doesn't sound logical. You know what I mean? So some of the stuff is good, some of it is bad, some of it makes you excited. Like I've been doing the Pro Football Network mock draft just because I like the way it runs, and it's quick, and I can reset it and do it again. So I probably did about, 10, 12 mock drafts in a row. So I would do, obviously, I'm selecting for the Eagles. Eagles have got number 10 and number 30. And I only do the first round because I want to see what that first round of picks is going to be. So, like 4 times out of about 10 or 12 picks, Jalen Carter falls to the Eagles. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking like, ooh, this could happen. And I guess technically, yes, it could happen, but most likely it won't happen. But it's fun to get into that type of stuff. And then I like the Pro Football Network one because it gives you like a little, you see a little icon, you can click on it, and it gives you all the information on that player. And then it kind of gives you a better understanding or a better reason as to why a team might pick them. Because you got to look at then you got to understand, the team. If you're just picking for the Eagles, you know what the Eagles are looking for. But if you're trying to predict what most of the other teams are going to do, you got to figure out what all of those other teams are looking for. Sometimes they do that. Sometimes, and when I say they, sometimes you look at some of the stuff on YouTube and on TV, and some people's opinions really don't make any sense. But they're doing it for clickbait and stuff like that. So I understand that. It is what it is. But so it's pretty funny. The Eagles are in an interesting spot, in my opinion. If Jalen Carter falls to us, and I don't see any reason why he would, the Eagles are going to take him. But I don't see that happening because Jalen Carter is arguably the number one prospect in the draft. Better than the quarterbacks and all of that kind of stuff. Better than Bijan. And Jalen Carter is the guy that you want to get if you're picking for your team. If he falls to you, you got to take him. Or somebody's going to trade up to get him. So, but I don't see him going that far. If he's available at 10, that means he was available when Detroit picks. And I can see Detroit snagging him. Or I can see Chicago snagging him. Or, the Cardinals snagging him. So, I mean, he could go in any number of picks. So, but it's just fun to think about it like that. So, trying to predict all of this stuff can get a little bit crazy. And that's half the fun of it. But it is interesting when you study tape on people and you're trying to figure out why would you want to take that person over the next person. You know what I mean? Why is Skoronsky from I think he's the kid from Northwestern. Why is he getting so much pub all of a sudden? Why is Will Levis shooting up the charts all of a sudden, like he's gonna crack the top 4. He's gonna be one of the first. Well, he would be the first 4, but he might get picked over C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young or something like that. It's like all of a sudden, all of this news is coming out, and it's not even news. It's just like a lot of the media heads, they just start talking about a certain person for whatever reason. In my opinion, I think a lot of that is strategic. At the end of the day, it's all about who you know and what connections, what connections they have. So if you know somebody and you trying to be a high pick, and your agent or somebody associated with your agent has connections to ESPN or one of the other, or Pat McAfee or something like that, somebody that could put your name out there, and millions of people have access to that portal. They have access to that. Millions of people watch Pat McAfee. Millions of people are watching ESPN and PFF. So if you can manage to get a name dropped out there, that just becomes the name on everybody's consciousness. So it looks like the optics of it are that person is trending in the right direction, when in reality, they haven't really done anything. The tape is still the tape. If that person wasn't good a month ago, he hasn't done anything in a game situation that should change your mind. So it's all about the politics and the strategic positioning of who puts their name out there, how you can get mentioned on enough talk shows and Good Morning Footballs and places like that. Like you saw the whole situation with Brady Quinn talking about C.J. Stroud and the controversy, and people were labeling it racist and all that kind of stuff. And I heard what he said. I didn't think it was that bad. The problem was what he said at the beginning of the conversation, when he was talking about people are going to be looking down on him because he didn't go to the Manning passing camp or whatever. For whatever reason, that has no bearing on whether or not you should get drafted. So the problem people had was when he put that out there, the way he said it made people think that coaches were looking down on him or thought that he was a problem because he didn't go to that camp. And then he goes on to praise him and say how much of a good player he is, this, that, and the other. He did do that. The problem was at the beginning. If you don't hear the context of the whole conversation, which most people normally don't, if you just catch the beginning of the conversation, it sounds like he's ripping the kid because he didn't go to a Manning passing camp. And the way he said it, it made it sound like that was going to affect his draft status. Like, because he doesn't go, some people might have some questions. It just sounded suspect the way he said it. And then everybody came out and blasted him for him, and he's got his hands in the air like, what's the problem? Well, sometimes it ain't what you say, it's how you say it. So it's that week. Things like that are going to happen. That is not going to change. Everybody's trying to get clickbait. Everybody's trying to get the views. And it's crazy this week, man. It's going to be crazy all week. I'm very interested. I was trying to get Ian Cummings to come on the show. I saw Ian Cummings on Sports Take with Barrett, D. Gunn, and Rob Ellis. I mean, he was phenomenal. He's on Pro Football Network, and he's a draft analyst. And he was fire on the show. And I was like, dude. So I reached out to him on Twitter. And he was like, sure, I'd love to be on your show, but not next week because it's going to be crazy. And I was like, guaranteed. So I got him scheduled to come on the show May 11th. And we're going to talk about how things fell in the draft. Should be really interesting, especially somebody like that that really, really studies tape. And then what his thoughts were and what his predictions were versus what actually happened. That's always fun to look at. Hindsight is 20/20. And we can look at the whys and the wins and all of that kind of stuff. So that should be fun. So definitely stay tuned. Check me out. Please do me the favor of subscribing to my channel so you don't miss a thing, man. And I'm gonna go get my Salad Works lunch. Salad Works, if you want to be a sponsor, holler at me. And get back and get some food to my wife. I will holler at y'all later. Peace.